So what I want to do is just go through a brief recap of how we envision the NASA Human Health and Performance Center running, go over the agenda with you. We have a really great, robust agenda today I think you'll really enjoy. And we have breakout sessions this afternoon specifically aimed at giving you additional opportunities to match up with folks on any kind of collaborative ideas you have, whether they're services, projects, challenges. And we'll have, I think, a lot of good information for you to consider how you might consider running challenges or prizes in your organization or between organizations as we go. So if I could get the next slide, please. Oh, I have it. I'm sorry. I'm two hands occupied here so I could see the slides. Just to give you a quick recap, we actually conceived of this center back in 2007 as part of our strategic plan here in Space Life Sciences. We officially opened on October 18th. That was a web opening. We got our website up and running, so we had a way to connect all of you together. And we currently have 64 members, which is really fantastic. It's a nice mix, if you've gone on the website, of government, academic, corporate, and nonprofit organizations, and many of you are represented here today. We really established this to connect all of you, these organizations, together in a worldwide interest in collaborating and advancing human health and performance for spaceflight, commercial aviation, and also challenging environments on Earth. But in addition to challenging environments on Earth, really improving human health and performance on Earth as well. So this is a NASA-hosted center, but it's really for you. So as we talk about this, we really want this to be member-driven, both in terms of ideas, future workshops. I'll say this several times throughout the day, but the idea is to connect everyone here and to facilitate collaborations. And so if you develop a project between yourselves, it does not have to involve NASA. We certainly would like some of them to involve us, but they don't have to. And that's what we hope is part of the value of the center, and that we would ask that you give us back something down the road, either lessons learned, some knowledge from the project, or just what you can tell us about the project itself, because I think that will also spur everyone else to think about ideas and how to work together. I'm going to say that several times. So these are the themes, obviously health, performance, habitability in the environment. The broad topic, research and technology development, I think touches most of you here, and that's certainly a great interest to us. That's one of the reasons we decided to start with open innovation and collaboration as a theme, even though it's not a theme, as a process or platform, because we thought it was very broad and it would draw a lot of attention. And we will listen to you as we go through this process. So the areas you find most compelling that you would like to have workshops around, that's what we'll do. That was what makes the most sense to the membership. And education and outreach. We haven't touched on that a lot, but a lot of you are interested in either education directly or in outreach functions. I think you'll find a way to connect on that during the workshop today. There will be a breakout table around that this afternoon for those of you that are particularly interested in education and outreach. So why the NASA Human Health and Performance Center? We really envisioned it, first off, you'll hear from other presenters today, with the notion of open government, being transparent about our needs. And it's really been phenomenal for us how quickly that openness, publicizing what our technology needs were in several workshops, and then finding vehicles to allow that facilitation and collaboration has advanced several projects already. I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the open innovation work we did just very quickly, but we see tremendous value in collaborating across, sharing resources. We think it'll benefit all members by helping you close gaps, perhaps, in your research and technology portfolios, leveraging resources if we all bring something to the table around a particular project. We envisioned it to be virtual or web-based to allow rapid data sharing among members, because we thought that would be really key to keep these conversations going. So there was a lot of good connection and conversations yesterday and last night and today. A lot of times when you go to a professional workshop, that's where it ends. You know, if you might be lucky to keep a particular conversation going. So what we really want to do is open up these project rooms, post information, enable you to share information back and forth, and really keep those collaborative discussions and project work going. And prioritization as well. So how does this work? It's NASA, it's a shared leadership between the Johnson Space Center and the Ames Research Center. I'll point out Carol. Carol, if you'll stand up and just wave down here. Carol is the deputy for the NASA Human Health and Performance Center, and we really appreciate the collaboration across centers. That's something we need to keep doing more of on projects. We do intend to form an executive council of members to have this discussion about what projects, what workshops you'd be most interested in the future. As we told all of you when you signed up, there are no fees or agreements to join. We envision agreements down the road when you come up with a specific project, but that would follow normal mechanisms, normal contracting mechanisms, or however you decide to pursue a project. Our NASA team is providing the communications, the workshops. We could facilitate Space Act agreements. That's just our contractual mechanism for doing projects. At least on the website, it's open, so all material we post and we would ask that you would send us would be cleared for the public domain. We have talked about having a member section that would be password protected, that would contain more details about you, perhaps a point of contact, address, information that you probably don't want out on the public website, so we'd have a members only section, which we're getting ready to build, that you would be able to access, along with a member connect area where you could post projects. So our first year, what do we envision for products? We would like to have 2 to 3 workshops this year, this calendar year, I'll say, on compelling topics. We thought open collaboration and innovation was a really compelling topic to start with. We'd like to see 4 to 5 collaborative projects come to pass among members, if we can do that. You'll hear a little bit more today about legislation and other activities that have opened up the possibility for interagency prizes, interagency challenges, as well as public-private challenges. So I think there's an opportunity for NASA and another federal agency, or NASA and a corporation, to run a prize around an area of mutual interest. I think that's a huge opportunity as we go forward. And we also want to accumulate and distribute best practices and data. So we're happy to post and distribute anything you think you'd like members to share with, and we'll certainly keep putting our experiences on the website. And we'll constantly solicit feedback from you as to what will make this of value to you as the members. So I'd like to acknowledge some folks. I acknowledged Carol already. I'd like to acknowledge our center directors. Mike Coates is my boss here at the Johnson Space Center. Pete Warden is Carol's boss at the Ames Research Center. They really helped enable this by agreeing to partner and collaborate to open up this center. I'll skip to the bottom just real quick because Bill Gerstenmaier is our executive sponsor at NASA headquarters. Bill really enabled us to get this center up and running. It's really important to us to have that executive sponsor. And I'd also like to acknowledge our Wiley Integrated Science and Engineering team. So I'm going to ask them to stand up, which they probably won't like. But the Wiley team that really put the website together, a lot of the communications. So I'm going to start with, they're all scattered around down here. Elizabeth Richard, Samantha Snabs, Gabe Rigger, McGee Johnson's up here, Cindy Rando, Tacey Baker, and I'd also like to point out, Jeannie Bopp is in the audience, and Vernon McDonald, I'm not sure has come in yet today, but they sponsored the reception last night, so thanks very much to Jeannie and Vernon and the Wiley folks for sponsoring that reception. I think that got us off to a really nice start last night, so thank you very much. And this slide, for some reason, is blended or blurred out. Steve, I don't know how this happened, because usually the dots pop right up. But I wanted to give you just a quick intro to some of the open innovation work we did. If this were the world, you'd see 2,900 pin dots on it. from some of the innocentive challenges we ran. We ran 7 challenges. We got 2,900 solvers to participate from 80 countries. This is just an example of one challenge we ran through Yet2.com, again, with a global reach. I think that's really powerful use of these open innovation platforms. We ran one challenge with Top Coder. That was a software-based competition. We got a great algorithm from this that we were able to use in our optimization algorithms, and Jason Cruzan from NASA headquarters has built upon this and opened up NASA Tournament Lab, which will seek at least 20 challenges around topics for optimization on the International Space Station. And Jason is actually running that first Tournament Lab kickoff meeting here today at Johnson Space Center, and we'll be around all the different centers. We also did NASA at Work. We used the InnoCentive platform internally. We gave every center at least 2 challenges to run. The idea here was to connect the centers. And this is just an example of challenges that were posted by the Johnson Space Center. And it's an eye chart, but it's just to give you an example that the color bars show you that multiple centers participated in trying to solve one center's problem. So we're very interested in who connected, what kinds of expertise connected. We know for a fact we connected people that didn't know each other before, that levels of expertise they didn't anticipate in being able to help with a particular problem. So just in the participation level, really a good result. And we'll see what kind of solutions we'll be able to post from that. So just to review the agenda with you real briefly, Dr. Kareem Lakhani will talk from Harvard Business School about an overall framework for open innovation, followed by Pascal Finette from Mozilla and Robin Sturm from the Office of Science, Technology, and Policy. Our panel will be composed of some of those same speakers, plus Bev Godwin is here from the General Services Administration to moderate. We're actually borrowing Bev's model of a lightning round and panel that will have an interactive Q&A I think you'll really like. Eugene Buff from Yet2.com, Steve Domek from InnoCentive, Pascal, again, Jennifer Fogarty from our group talking about our challenges, Lisa Pannell from General Mills, and Craig Wynette from Procter & Gamble. So I think you'll really enjoy that panel and have an opportunity to have a good Q&A from those folks. In the afternoon, Jeff Hamawi from the Casno Group will talk to you about their CoLab model. And again, Lisa Pannell will be talking about her experiences at General Mills about internalizing these open innovation platforms and doing it from a complete corporate perspective. So then just very briefly this afternoon with breakout sessions, we have some tables set up with themes that you suggested. They're in your packet. We have some open tables. We call them Projects 101 and Challenges 101. So if you're interested in talking to folks about collaborative projects or challenges or how to run challenges, those will be open. Each table has a facilitator and a note taker, so you can just participate and we'll get those results back to you. You have member information in your packet, so please look through it. It's a really interesting group of folks that have come together here to collaborate, and look through that, see who you might want to talk to or connect with. There are breakout sessions, there are breaks, the networking lunch, and the breakout tables to give you time to connect with each other and to talk about possible collaborations. And then we'll wrap up this afternoon, get some early feedback from you, and see how we can improve on this as we go forward. So I hope I stayed on time. I can't look at my watch at the same time. Any questions, quick questions before we get started? Where are we on time? I'm sorry, so were there any questions or comments before we get started? Great, well again, Jeff. The question was, is this normal for NASA to do this kind of work? We have a lot of collaborations. NASA does collaborate externally quite a bit. I think this center concept is new in the sense that it is a way to connect laterally across many different organizations. So it's a bit of a trial balloon, I think, for NASA to be this extensive, to have this kind of extensive center participation. So I think it's a little bit of a new model, but NASA has traditionally collaborated. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, again, I want to thank you for being here. I know travel is, especially this time of year, is difficult. I hope we've put together something of great value for you to get started with, as well as the center. So it's not just the workshop, it's everything we do after the workshop, in between meetings, and the kinds of collaborative projects and challenges we can put together as a total package. So I really appreciate your interest and your participation today, and we'll get started. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Kareem Lakhani from the Harvard Business School. He asked me not to read his whole bio. So I'll just say he was also a former GEer, and we met about 3 years ago and started our collaborative work together, which really opened literally our experience to the open innovation platforms and how we might use that within a government agency to solve problems. I think Kareem and I have cross-referred each other to multiple organizations to the point where we're saturated with opportunities, but it's really been great to work with Kareem. I think some of you have heard this talk, this overall idea of the Ideas Cloud, so I won't take any more of his time and introduce Dr. Kareem Lakhani from Harvard Business School.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, so some of the NASA folks have seen this multiple times. I could invite some of them to come up and give this talk as well. Jeff could probably do it too. Or Jen could, yes. What I'm going to try to do is lay out the logic for sort of external innovation and both sort of why we want to do it, as well as sort of a framework for us to make sense of when would we do it internally versus externally. And the notion of the Ideas Cloud, the metaphor comes from sort of the most current, hip term in IT, which is cloud computing. So many of you have heard of cloud computing. The notion behind cloud computing is that basically that the core assets, the core IT assets of a firm or an organization don't necessarily have to be inside the organization. They can be outside, and then the IT group or the organization itself can tap into it on demand and use it as needed, and then turn it on or turn it off depending on what's going on. And the notion of the Ideas Cloud is similar, that some of the core intellectual assets of the firm also don't have to be inside the firm, inside the organization. They could easily sit outside. In fact, from the data I'll show you that in fact that is the case no matter what. And the opportunity for firms is to find ways to organize themselves so that they can actually access this knowledge from the outside world. Before I start, I'm going to show you a video, a commercial from the Super Bowl 2008. I think it should show reasonably well here. It's a Doritos commercial, so let's watch this commercial together. The audio isn't on.
It's my crystal ball.
It looks like a snow globe.
Nuh-uh, it's real. Here, watch. Free Doritos at the office today? I think that's a yes! Free Doritos!
Will I finally get that big
I'm
promotion?
gonna hit somebody with that crystal ball. It's boss.
Promotion? Not in your future.
So the genesis, so this ad was created by two brothers in Batesville, Indiana. It was part of Doritos' attempt to sort of get into this crowdsourcing game. And if you think about Doritos is part of PepsiCo. PepsiCo has some, core capabilities. One of them is marketing and creating ads. And PepsiCo decided for the Doritos brand that they wouldn't do any of that, right? They would let people from around the world participate with them to create the ad, but not just even create the ad, but also choose the ad. So many people, about 1,900 people, submitted fully formed ads. And the ad that you saw here was exactly what they submitted. And then about 1 million people participated in its voting. And then the top 5 ads, I believe, they took and they ran on Super Bowl. And again, if you think about the Super Bowl in the US, that's the marquee signature TV advertising event. And Pepsi decided that they wouldn't have anything to do with it. They let their users determine the ad. It took Pepsi 3 years to come to this decision. You can imagine the conversation in the boardroom, like, you want us to do what? Like, people from around the world, like Batesville, Indiana, will submit ads, and then some other people will help choose the ads, and we don't have a say about it. It was a pretty controversial decision, but the firm decided for the brand that it was, for Doritos as a brand, they felt that that was the best way to indicate to their fan base, to their customer base, and it has yielded some very interesting results. About 4,000 entries, and they spent about $2.5 million on this, and then just the publicity around the ad itself, because it got picked up in many other settings, they estimate to be about $35 million. And then the additional hit on the revenues, they estimate close to about $50 million. And then, they knocked out the poor Budweiser dog as well, their 10-year running streak. And so the notion here is, again, if you think about an organization like Pepsi, they have decided that they can tap into this worldwide network of people around the world who probably have more creative ideas than their ad agencies might themselves. And given that the tools for innovation are decreasing and the connectivity has increased, they're making hay with this, and they've now rolled out similar campaigns across their global markets, and they're also doing something similar with recipes as well. So PepsiCo has really gone ahead with sort of taking this approach of accessing this ideas cloud for their benefit.